Meritorious dear children, today we are going to listen to another Bodhisattva Jathaka story of the Gautama Buddha. This Jathaka story is named as Vannupatha Jathaka, and it is the second Jathaka story of the Jathaka book. Once upon a time, the Bodhisattva was born into a trader's family. When he had grown up, he used to travel about trading with 500 carts. On one occasion, he came to a sandy wilderness over 200 miles across. The sand was so fine that when you squeezed it in your hand, it slipped through the fingers of even a tightly closed fist. As soon as the sun came up, it got as hot as a bed of charcoal embers, and nobody could walk upon it. Accordingly, those traveling across it used to take firewood, water, oil, rice, and so forth on their carts, and only travel by night. At dawn, they used to arrange their carts in a circle or to form a camp with an awning spread overhead, and after an early meal used to sit in the shade all the day long. When the sun went down, they had their evening meal. Only when the ground became cool would they yoke their carts and move forward. Traveling on this desert was like voyaging over the sea. A desert pilot, as he was called, had to convoy them over by knowledge of the stars. And this was the way in which our merchant was now traveling that wilderness. When he had only some 7 more miles before him, he thought to himself, "Tonight will see us out of this sandy wilderness." So after they had had their supper, he ordered the food and water to be thrown away, and yoking his carts, set out on the road. The pilot sat in the front cart on a bench looking up to the stars in the heavens and directing their course. But he was so tired that he fell asleep, and as a result he did not see that the cows had turned around and were retracing their steps. All night the cows kept on their way, but at dawn the pilot woke up and, observing the dispositions of the stars overhead, and shouted out, "Turn the carts round, turn the carts round." As they turned the carts round and were forming them into line, the day broke. "Why, this is where we camped yesterday," cried the people of the caravan. "All our wood and water are gone, and we are lost." So they unyoked their carts and made camp and spread the awning overhead. Then each man flung himself down in despair beneath his own cart. The Bodhisattva thought to himself, "If I give in, every single one will perish." So he walked back and forth while it was still early and cool until he came on a clump of kusa grass. This grass, he thought, can only have grown up here, thanks to the presence of water underneath. So he ordered a shovel to be brought and a hole to be dug at that spot. They dug down very deep until they struck a rock, and everybody lost heart. But the Bodhisattva, feeling sure there must be water under the rock, went down in a hole and stood on the rock. Stooping down, he put his ear on it and listened. Catching the sound of the water flowing beneath, he came out and said to everyone, especially to a servant boy, "My boy, if you give in, we shall all perish. So take heart and have courage. Go down into the hole with this iron sledgehammer and strike the rock." Doing as the Bodhisattva asked, a young man, resolute where all others had lost heart, went down and struck the rock. The rock, which had dammed the stream, split apart and fell in. The water rose up in the hole until it was as high as a palm tree, and everybody drank and bathed. Then they chopped up their spare axles and yokes and other surplus gear, cooked their rice and ate it, and fed their cows as well. As soon as the sun set, they hoisted a flag by the side of the well and traveled on to their destination. There they sold their goods for twice and 4 times their value. They returned to their own home with their profits, where they lived out their lives. This is the end of the Vannupatha Jathaka story. The moral of the Jathaka story: children, we also should have right effort to achieve whatever goals in our lives. We should never give up